probability will not cause a conflict of interest and states its reasons for the finding. Joint representation of co-defendants charged in criminal matters by attorneys from the same law firm is uncommon. There is great concern that there may be a conflict of interest as incompatibility of positions may arise at any moment. Of additional concern, Michigan Rule of Professional Conduct 3.7 states that a lawyer shall not act as advocate at a trial in which the lawyer is likely to be a necessary witness. I don't yet know if that rule is implicated, but I want to be clear that a lawyer providing representation in this matter will not be permitted to also testify. These concerns need to be addressed both in the short term and in the long term in the event that these matters go to jury trial. To this end, the court is appointing independent counsel for each defendant. The appointment of counsel will not be as a substitute for the defendant's current counsel of choice or to report back to this court. The purpose of independent counsel will be for the limited purpose of advising each defendant in the matter with regard to joint representation and the potential for conflicts of interest. The court is aware that a defendant is permitted to make a knowing, intelligent, and voluntary waiver of his or her right to conflict-free counsel. I will be inquiring of each defendant at our next pretrial if they intend to waive any potential conflict. I will also be asking for a written waiver by each defendant. If it appears that a written waiver by the defendants becomes necessary subsequent to their meeting with independent counsel, I'm requesting the prosecution and defendants agree to language and present a proposed written waiver. In the meantime, I'm going to take the prosecutor's motion for joint representation safeguards, which is set for tomorrow, under advisement. I don't believe the defendants have responded to that motion. I'm also going to set another pretrial date. So I want to ask if you are all available April 5th at 10 a.m. I also want you to keep in mind that it isn't as easy in the past to set a court date. You probably noticed that we're not in my courtroom. There's a murder trial going on in my courtroom and the two adjoining courtrooms. So I can't just set things without asking. So
the date works for the people.
Your Honor, I do see that Ms. Smith has a trial that day in another county. I can speak with her if you'd like to schedule it. I can speak with her regarding that trial.
Okay, there are difficulties that we didn't have in the past moving things around. Obviously, this case is of great interest to a great number of people. So there's a lot of people to notify for a pretrial or any kind of proceeding. The other thing is that I don't, I'm sort of homeless right now. I have to, kind of look for a jury room, a courtroom. So that's jury free. So if for some reason you can't make that, we need to know in a timely way because it's more trouble than it used to be. So
I should be able to notify everyone today, Your Honor.
Okay, and if you could get back to my staff, because we could arrange another date. I think I'm going to be in jury trial next Tuesday, so that would, and I don't have a courtroom, so.
Judge, just one question regarding the written waiver form. The people did attach as an exhibit a proposed waiver form. In counsel's response, I didn't see a specific objection. Counsel, do you have an objection to the language in the form attached?
I would prefer that we discuss this off the record and maybe confer and decide whether or not we approve of the language that's included in the waiver.
I don't think I've seen that because I don't know if I had that attachment. It probably was filed. But I guess I'd like it if you confer on that. I hope the Crumleys understand the purpose for the independent counsel. I'm concerned that at some point today, tomorrow, next week, a month from now, 4 months from now, that something could happen to cause a conflict that could damage your position, Mr. Crumbley, or your position, Mrs. Crumbley. And I have an obligation to protect your rights. And I'm concerned as we sit here right now that there could be a myriad of things that are incompatible. So I'm sending appointed counsel, independent counsel, and their job isn't to report back to me. Their job isn't to take the place of your attorney. They're going to talk to you about a conflict of interest, potential conflict of interest, and what would be in your best interest. So I would urge you to listen to them and ask them any questions you might have. Because obviously this is very stressful for everyone involved. I'm trying to avoid your rights being implicated in a negative way, but I'm also trying to avoid having to recreate or go backwards with regard to this case. For example, if the matter is in trial and there's a conflict in the middle of a trial, that could cause a mistrial. I'm sure it's no surprise to you that the court is very backed up. I happen to have a fairly reasonable docket, but some of the judges in the courthouse are trying cases where individuals have been in jail 700 days. And that would not be my intent if your matter goes to trial. I would give you the speediest trial possible. However, if there's a mistrial because of some conflict that arises during a trial, we'd be back at square one. So I want to avoid all of that. All right. So you should be visited within the next 2 weeks, and they'll talk to you about these issues. Your lawyers might also have positions with regard to this. You know, now there's the preliminary examination, transcript is available, and discovery, and that could make a difference in what you choose going forward. All right. Anything else?
Just procedurally, so we understand, the court will appoint independent counsel. Counsel will meet with the Crumbley separately.
Separately, two separate lawyers.
Okay, two separate lawyers,
Mhm.
and that is in the presence only of the independent attorney with the defendant. Am I correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. The independent lawyer will be there with Mrs. Crumbley, and a separate independent lawyer will be with Mr. Crumbley. Absolutely.
You judge, and I'll work with opposing counsel. We'll put together a form and send to the court.
I'd appreciate that. If at the next court date, I'll be wanting to move forward, and I'll be asking both sides what kind of motions they might have to file. Okay. Anything else?
Nothing, people, thank you, Judge.
Nothing from the defense, right?
All right. So
Because you disposed of the other part motion that tomorrow's date is off.
correct. That's correct. I hope Ms. Smith feels better.
Thank you, Your Honor. I appreciate that.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Recording stopped.